Good evening and welcome to the March 23rd work session of the Shenandoah County School Board. This meeting is called to order. I note the absence, Madam Clerk, of Mrs. Carlinio from District 3. Madam Superintendent, do you advise that this board convene into a closed session?
I do, thank you. I recommend the School Board of Shenandoah County convene a closed meeting under the Virginia Freedom of Information Act in order to discuss and consider several personnel matters involving the assignment, appointment, promotion, performance, demotion, salary, discipline, or resignation of several employees of the Shenandoah County Public Schools under Virginia Code 2.2-3711A14. And for the purposes of discussing plans to protect public safety as it relates to threats or vulnerabilities and briefings by staff members or law enforcement or emergency service officials concerning actions taken to respond to such matters or a related threat to public safety, discussion of information subject to the exclusion in subdivision 2 or 14 of 2.2-3705-.2, where discussion in an open meeting would jeopardize the safety of any person or the security of any facility, building, structure, information technology system, or software program, or discussion of reports or plans related to the security of any governmental facility, building, or structure, or the safety of persons using such facility, building, or structure pursuant to Virginia Code 2.2-3711-19, and pursuant to Virginia Code 2.2-3711A8 to consult with legal counsel regarding specific legal matters requiring the provision of legal advice by such counsel.
Vice Chairperson Pence is recognized.
I move the Shenandoah County School Board convene a closed meeting under the Virginia Freedom of Information Act in order to discuss and consider several personnel matters involving the assignment, appointment, promotion, performance, demotion, salary, discipline, or resignation under Virginia Code 2.2-3711A14, and for the purposes of discussing plans to protect public safety as it relates to threats or vulnerabilities and briefings by staff members or law enforcement or emergency service officials concerning actions taken to respond to such matters or a related threat to public safety, discussion of information subject to the exclusion in subdivision 2 or 14 of 2.2-3705.2, where discussion in an open meeting would jeopardize the safety of any person or the security of any facility, building, structure, information technology system, or software program, or discussion of reports or plans related to the security of any governmental facility, building, or structure, or the safety of persons using such facility, building, or structure pursuant to Virginia Code 2.2-3711-19, and to consult with legal counsel regarding specific legal matters requiring the provision of legal advice by such counsel pursuant to Virginia Code 2.2-3711A8.
A motion to gather into closed session has been offered by Mrs. Pence in accordance with the Code of Virginia. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Rickard. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, no. And we will convene in closed session. Thank you. Is there a motion to reconvene in open session?
Move to reconvene in open session.
Thank you, Mr. Rickard. Is there a second?
Second.
And second by Mr. Scheibe. Shenandoah County School Board hereby certifies by roll call vote that to the best of each member's knowledge, one, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in the closed meeting to which this certification resolution applies, and two, only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered by the Shenandoah County School Board. Each member will respond, "I so certify," when called upon, and I call for a roll call vote.
Did you take a vote to come back in? I heard a first and a second that I didn't hear. Did you take a
We
vote?
got a vote to reconvene in open.
Yes, there was a motion by Mr.
Yeah, a
Rickard.
motion and a second, but did you
Yeah,
have
but we didn't,
a vote?
We got to
didn't
have
do
a
the
roll
certify.
call, not a roll call.
And a roll call vote.
Yeah.
Yes.
We did.
I did do that, didn't I? Yes.
No, I don't think you did.
No, it's not.
There was a second to come back into open session. I agree. You were right.
I read that.
Right, but this, you only had a second.
Cheryl, you're just waiting on a vote to reconvene, correct?
Yeah.
It's just an open
Oh,
vote, not a roll call.
All right. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Do I need to read that paragraph again? No. Roll call vote.
Mr. Scheibe,
I so certify.
Mr. Street,
I so certify.
Ms. Pitts,
I so certify.
Mr. Rickard,
I so certify.
Mr. Bates.
I so certify. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
Move to approve the agenda as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Rickard. Is there a second?
Second.
And second by Ms. Pence. All in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The motion is agreed to, 5-0. Work session 3.1, discussion of carry forward fiscal year 2025. Dr. Shepard and Ms. Campbell.
Thank you. Each year, an audit is conducted of our finances, and the audit firm, Robinson Farmer Cox, performed a review of the agreed-upon procedures for calculating our fund balance carryover. And tonight, we are going to focus mainly on the operational fund balance carryover for the year that ended June 30th, 2025. So that operational carry forward is $5,455,449. And I would like to ask the school board, after this presentation, how you would like to see these funds requested from the Board of Supervisors. And at the April 9th school board meeting, we will be, the school board will be approving that recommendation. My recommendation is to actually use these funds for the architectural and engineering for the projects that were approved at the last school board meeting on March the 12th. So you can see in front of you, and I have a hard copy as well. Are the estimated cost of the renovations or the new builds, and also the estimated cost of the architectural and engineering fees. So if we look at the very top line, you will see Ashby Lee Elementary renovation, and the estimated cost is $7,860,000. The estimated timeline from start to finish is 32 months. And you'll see the estimated cost of architectural and engineering fees of $400,000. And I just want to make it clear that the architectural and engineering fees. At the end of their project, we will have blueprints on which to follow, so that a contractor can follow on the things that the school board will request to be part of the renovation project. So there will be blueprints to lead whatever that project looks like. So what I did at the far right, you will notice that estimated cost of A&E fees, architectural and engineering fees, not including construction administration, was $300,000. And the reason I added that last column was because you'll notice at the bottom of the estimated cost of A&E, that's 5.7 million. We have a little less than 5.5 million. So I took the amount up to the construction administration, and you'll notice that all of the projects that the school board approved or prioritized at the last meeting are 4.2 million, almost 4.3 million. So that's the reason why we did all the way up through bid documents to construction administration, because the construction administration could be included in the funds that are allocated to the school board for the major construction items. So,
What exactly, now, say it again now, what exactly the difference in the columns?
yeah, so if you look at the estimated cost of A&E fees, that's architectural and engineering fees, that takes us all the way through the project to where we're doing a ribbon cutting for opening the door. The column on the far right just goes through the bid process right before we hire a construction company to actually do the work. And then there's what they call construction administration after that. So if you look at Ashby Lee, there's $100,000 for construction administration that an architecture firm will do, and that's to manage the change order processes, to make sure that the roofing material that they have spec'd is what's being used, to make sure that the block that they have chosen is what's being used. So the architect is on site a couple of times a week to make sure that it's being built to the specification which they designed.
Won't that be the job of our new construction person? I
So-
mean, it seems like we're paying for that twice.
It will, except for it's not our new construction person that's going to manage the change order process. That is an architect that does the change order process. It comes, so like, an example, I want to use this block. You have spec'd this particular block on this project, and I want to use a substitute. So the architect actually can say, yes, that substitute block will carry the same weight as the block that I have spec'd, and it's okay for you to use that. Or they will want to use another substitute when it comes to something else. It's the architect's responsibility for the construction administration to actually do those change orders. We wouldn't want to have our project manager, who wasn't the person who actually did the design, approve those change orders.
No, understood, but, you know, so that's built into the architectural fees from the beginning.
That's right.
And will they deal directly with the because the construction company is going to have a project manager too.
That's correct.
So,
Yes. So typically, the way the process worked, and Kevin, if you want to correct me if I'm wrong, but the way the construction process works is for a change order, the construction company will say, I want this change order. They'll send it to the architect. The architect will, say, based on the information, I need price quotes, or I need this, or I need that information. They'll either approve it and send it back, or they will send it back and not approve it.
Right.
So, and really, the project manager that we would hire oversees that and says, this change order is not actually the fault of the school division. It's not because we've changed something, because the architect didn't do their due diligence, or it's because the construction company didn't do their, this project right. So our project manager's responsibility is to keep those change orders low and really attribute it to the person that it belongs to, whether it's the architect, the construction company, or the school division.
Right, okay, so. but-
Kevin, is that close?
So, and basically then, though, there's a $100,000 estimate for those types, to work
Yes.
on those procedures.
It's
All right.
25% of their overall cost.
Right, okay.
Yeah, and you'll notice that all down through
Yeah.
there. So, looking at another example, Sandy Hook, the estimated renovation cost was $7.7 million. It's going to take 32 months in order to, for the estimated timeline. A&E fees are $350,000, but if we just wanted to do all the way up to construction administration, it would be a little over $262,000.
Now, the 32 months you have on the estimated timeline,
Mm-hmm.
that's not how long it's going to take to come up with drawings, is it?
No, so that actually, if you look at, I think maybe I have it on the next slide. No, I do not. If you look at the bottom part of this sheet of paper, it'll tell you what the timeline is. So the estimated, actually the estimated timeline is about a year to do to get it to the bid process.
Right.
So 3 months for selection of a design firm, that's something that the school board is going to have to do. And I have asked Kaylin, Ms. Campbell, to actually start developing that RFP so we can go ahead and get interest. Since we have the projects identified that we're interested in, we can say including but not limited to, or something like that, so that the school board can actually start interviewing architects. We'll leave it out for 30 days, and then the school board will have the opportunity to interview architects that you guys are interested in working with, and then we can go ahead and choose that to make sure that piece of the puzzle's already done. So, it takes 3 months, and this information came from Dale Cupp, from Miller and Cupp, and he's about right. So 30 days to leave that RFP out, and then another 30 days to vet the companies, and then for the school board to interview, and then the negotiation process with the contract. So,
And then that will be duplicated when it's, after the plans are done and we hire a construction company, right? So we'll go through that whole
Yeah.
process
Yeah.
twice.
So with the construction company, it's a bid.
Yeah.
So it's typically the lowest bid actually gets the first opportunity whenever you're going out for a construction company. But for RFP, it's not necessarily the lowest bid. It's the one we negotiate a contract with.
Done.
And Kevin, please jump in at any time if I'm misstating something. So, so the elementary school renovation, all of them are 32 month timeline. New elementary school timeline was 56 months. And I just started from July 1st because, just to choose a date. It doesn't, we could start, May 1st if we would like, with, advertising for an architectural firm. But you'll see the timelines on the next 2 pages. And then if you look at page 4, 5, and 4 through 7, these are the numbers that Dale Cupp, if I called him Bill earlier, I'm sorry about that. These are the numbers that Dale Cupp presented to us earlier this year on what the renovation, but I added some additional information so you guys could see what the scope of that work would be. And towards the bottom, I put additional considerations. And if the school board has additional considerations that they would like to include, I just added a couple that I knew that I had heard along the way of things that people may be, of what school board members may be interested in. And this is for Ashby Lee, it's for Sandy Hook, and then W.W. Robinson. There's a new elementary school near Tomsbrook, Murraytown. and then the CTE in Woodstock, and then the renovation of Triplet Tech and minimal expansion. So I did want to share what I heard at the Board of Supervisors meeting on Monday and Tuesday last week. And what I heard from the, I'm sorry, I'm in your way, but what I heard from the Board of Supervisors is there is support for the renovation of the elementary schools, and there is support for the renovation and minimal expansion of Triplet Tech. So I heard that. And that was either majority or consensus on those 4 projects. And then what I heard on the new triplet site in Woodstock, there was support, but I don't know that it was consensus. And there was support for a new elementary school, but I don't know if it was majority. So is that right, Ryan? Yeah, so, yeah.
First of all, let me thank Ryan, because that's where I got my information from, was the Northern Virginia Daily, and I read it and I said, well, this isn't what we decided as a school board. We decided our priority was the renovation of 3 elementary schools and the new elementary school. So I did talk to somebody from the Board of Supervisors and I said, hey, are you all telling us how we're to spend the money that we receive? And I was told, no, they can't do that unless they specifically say, hey, we're earmarking this money for this. So for what it's worth, we still decide what we're going to do as our projects.
But if they're the bank, basically, and if they're only going to fund certain things, I think that we have to tread carefully with that.
I think one thing you gotta look at is, I guess they're not gonna fund certain things, they're gonna give us X amount of dollars, and we decide how we're gonna steward that money.
Right. But, I mean, we can jump right to it. I mean, if they're not at a consensus or majority to fund building anything new, which seems to be what they're at other than additions, do we spend money for A&E that we could use towards,
That's what
something else?
That's what I was shocked at, was the fact that I was told that the new elementary school predates all of us on this board. That discussion has been had at a county level for long before we were on this board.
Yeah. Well,
I didn't realize that, but
and there was, a study that said 2, and, there's been, and I found out about some study today that was done at Triplet about, what that building could be, could actually hold and stuff. So, and, calling out that, I don't know, something about the studs or something and bringing it up to code. So there seems to be a lot of information that we have yet to really get. I think, but looking at the price tags with what some of these things are, if I was on the Board of Supervisors, you look at our 2 biggest price tags are basically what's it add up to, $70 million to build, a new triplet facility in Woodstock and a new elementary school. So, I see why, that's not going to move as fast as anybody would like it.
I would like us to get the A&E done on all of it. That way we have drawings in hand for any grants that are available. I think we'd be cutting ourselves short if we didn't do that part of it.
Well, knowing that blueprints and stuff are only good for 1 to 2 years without having to be revised and stuff, I think I'm against that unless they'll give us some more clarity on when they may be ready to fund that. So, we could stagger it if we know, but, I want to make sure that we're not putting money ahead on something that, you know, we may not see happen before, or while we're still on the school board. So,
This is not up for action tonight, correct?
It is not. It is not. So I do want to go to some additional slides. So you could see, we went from 211 to 118 on the projects that we are proposing here, or that the school board had approved at the March 12th meeting. And you'll see the figures over there to the right. And please remember that these are estimated costs. They could change. And then you will notice here are the costs that are capital improvement plan. You've seen this information before. But it actually has, you know, 5.7 million is the A&E, which is in this year. You'll see transportation for our CIP was 1.2 million. Safety and security is $1 million. HVAC was 15.9 million, so on and so forth. And I've got another handout that I'll hand you in just a minute. But we went through an exercise in the office to prioritize the CIP items so that we could get it down to $5 million. And we did that based on the things that we thought in our office that had highest priority. Now, we didn't get it to $5.5 million because we left in the $13.5 million for the HVAC. Because there was one thought along the way that they may fund, that the Board of Supervisors may fund the $13.5 million in HVAC, but that didn't pan out. You'll see roofing, you'll see the project titles that we've, you know, that we said, these are, you know, these are our top priority in the $5 million. Now, what we came up with was 24.2 million, but 5.7 million of that was the architectural A&E fees. And then 5 million of that was the 5 million of the 8 million that they're going to borrow, hopefully every year, to give the school division $5 million that we can count on every year for CIP. And then it's the additional 13.5 million for the HVAC. My recommendation, if we're not able to do anything else with that $5 million, it's going to go towards HVAC. But I don't know how the board feels about that. So here is our recommendation. And then I know you have this several times, so, but feel free to take another one. There are all the projects in totality, because how are we going to get to that almost $5.5 million? Are we going to do A&E for all of the projects? Are we going to do, in its entirety, are we going to do A&E for some of the projects? And are we only going to go up through construction administration, or are we going to do, and then if we're only going to do that, then are we going to request the other money be put towards CIP? I can tell you that at the meeting on Tuesday, it seemed to me that the Board of Supervisors were going to give us $3 million of this, what I'm going to call surplus funds or carry forward funds. They were going to give us $3 million of that back. So that's what I heard.
so and that leaves us short of even, so we wouldn't have enough to do all the A&E
Yeah.
then.
But I did indicate that we were going to ask for all 5.455 million. And then if they tell us it's 300, then we would, or 3 million, then we would.
Well, I think that's important to keep asking.
So thoughts on how we prioritize this 5.4 million and carry forward? and I know you're hearing it for the first time. We will need to have a decision by April the 9th. We'll need to vote on it April the 9th.
I would like to see us move forward with what we've been talking about for over a year.
But I have to kind of back up Mr. Shivey. I don't feel comfortable wanting to spend $3.5 million just on plans if I want to make sure the county's on board. I want to hear the Board of Supervisors' decision. Once again, it's almost like the cart is always before the horse. You know, we're trying to decide our budget, and the state hadn't decided theirs, and we're trying to decide this, but we don't know for sure what the Board of Supervisors is going to do, so I don't feel confident agreeing to $3.5 million when I don't know that the Board of Supervisors is on board yet.
Well, and we don't know how much they're gonna give us back of the carryover. So we don't know how, we can't afford all of it anyway. So, you know, my thought is, we know that at least unless it changes between when they have a meeting tomorrow night. Yeah, I mean, between now and then, that doing the A&E on the ones that we know they're going to fund now is, you know, I think is the best move, you know, and being kind of, you know, good, you know, fiscal stewards of the money. I mean, you know, I think the priority in my mind is the things they said that they would do right now, or that they'll fund now. That's what we should put the money into now. Because if that money, well, what would we have left over if we only did the A&E on the 4 things they said they'll do now?
You keep saying that they said they'll do. Have they committed to funding all 4 of those projects?
All right, well, you know, from what I understood at the meeting, that's what they're doing. Yeah. I mean, unless I got that wrong. I guess we could ask the newspaper guy. That's what they said too. I was pretty sure that's what they said. Yeah.
A mid-year adjustment to the budget, based on A&E drawings, that
Yeah.
we'll hash it out.
Yeah.
But from what you told us by hearing the Board of Supervisors, what you kind of heard that they're on agreeance is only 2.2 million of the A&E fees of that 5.7.
That's correct.
The other is, I haven't heard that they're in agreement yet.
There was majority or consensus on the renovation projects.
Yeah. So, I mean, what I'm saying then, knowing that and looking forward to seeing what they will, you know, the BOS will do next, you know, that when they give us that money, I mean, we should not spend it on something other than the, you know, the immediate things that they've all agreed on. Because we don't know when they'll agree on the funds for the others. That's all I'm saying. So, and, so if we spend money on further, A&E, it needs to be after the 4 things, you know, the renovations that everyone seems to be agreed on. So if we have money left over after that, you know, you know, we could certainly discuss putting it towards some drawings and things for something else.
I just thought we worked this out at our last school board meeting when we wanted the decisions to remain with this board and not let the board make our decisions for us.
Well, it all does come down to funding.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately, if we don't have the funds, then we wouldn't be able to move forward with an A&E design for a new elementary school. And, you know, as we look through, just on page 7, when it talks about a new elementary school near Tom's Brook in Morristown, I still have a lot of questions. Is that exactly where it needs to go? I know that the county already owns that land, but is that the best location for a new elementary school? And my other questions, revolve around which students are going to go there? What grades are they going to be in? How many staff are we going to need for that? I'm in agreement with Mr. Scheibe that we need to spend our money to get us, for lack of a better wording, the biggest bang for our buck. And right now, that is our 3 elementary schools, because we have some very significant facility-related issues there, and we need to make sure that we are spending the funds for those 3 projects first.
Oh, 100%. I'm in agreement with you there. It was just when Chairman Vance went down the list, when we were looking at what we were sending to the Board of Supervisors, all of us agreed our priority was the 3 elementary schools and the new elementary school. And that was the first thing we decided on.
But we didn't all agree.
We all agreed?
Well, the majority. Sorry, the majority.
4-2 vote.
4-2, I think it was.
4-2, yes.
4-2.
And then
And
5-1.
the reasons that I just gave you was my reason for no. I haven't been shown anything besides a drawing from Mr. Cup that's where that elementary school should go. That's the best place for it.
Well, and on that note, I mean, we're talking about, architecture and engineering. Has there been I'll throw out another one, an R&D on where to put it? Some research and development? No. So, I mean, that's, and I don't know if there's one that was done previously, I'd like to see it, because there probably is one somewhere. But, that's a good point, Ms. Pence, because, and the county would also have to agree to give up that park space, so, I think not that I want to spend money on more studies, but I mean, I think that this is probably a wise time to do one, rather than jump right to blueprints. I mean,
Not to cut you off, but that's what I was saying earlier. If I'm on the Board of Supervisors, you want to spend, you're wanting to spend $3.5 million that we haven't even decided where we're going to loan you the money yet. I mean, and we haven't even decided whether we're going to give you the land. So there's some things that have to be worked out together before I agree to spending $3.5 million.
But we can't even look at getting grants so that the county knows how much money we need until we have blueprints in hand. I mean,
but don't you think that would make more sense to do that once, I mean, they're sure that's where we can put it? The county says, yes, you can put it here. I mean, I get the grant part, and I mean, we have to be shovel ready. But, the good thing about, I mean, that is, there may be further grants in a couple years, and maybe some state help, but, the price tag on all this, and, and there's likely to be a tax increase. So, I mean, these are all things that, that we kind of have to look at. But if we don't spend that money on the R&D, or the A&E now, sorry, right now, is there a way to put it aside? Like if we have some of it left or something,
So one of the Board of Supervisors did say, let's fund the 5.7 and we could put it aside, and the school board could ask for it whenever we're ready to spend it, and then the Board of Supervisors have the opportunity to allocate it.
right.
Do you remember that?
That was for bond funds. It was not for these surplus funds, to
Yeah.
clarify.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So using the number that Mr. Street tossed out a minute ago, if you just did the renovation projects and you did it all the way, the estimated cost of A&E fees all the way through, that's $2.2 million. That leaves 3.255, about $3,256,000 for something else. So what would that something else be? And if
I
it
mean-
were my recommendation, it would be HVAC at our elementary schools.
To go towards the HVAC, yeah.
Yes.
But won't that HVAC be included in the renovations?
Or it could be separated out.
Okay,
Yep.
all right, so, all right, got it.
I know, it's kind of, like, well, where do you want to start? There's so many things that need to be fixed. I
Yeah,
don't know
that's what I
where do you
thought,
want to
too.
start? And
Because we know that HVAC, our HVAC systems that we currently have, do not remove the moisture from the air. And in order to mold and mildew grows, because there's moisture in the air, if we put in these units called DOAS units, then it removes the moisture before the air actually gets to the classroom. Is that right? Yes, so, yeah. So that would be the first step that we would do, is DOAS units. And that's our intent, but we don't have enough money at this point to do all 3 of our elementary schools. So it would be nice to be able to do all 3 of our elementary schools. And that's where I would recommend that extra money be allocated for, if we ask for the entire 5.4 million.
but that's just, that, and I agree, but it's just part of that whole big pot of all the HVAC systems that is multi-million dollars.
That's correct.
What's the number on replacing them all now?
13.5.
13.5 remaining.
To do
Okay.
total buildings.
Right, okay.
To replace all the HVACs that need to be replaced?
Just elementary.
Yeah,
Just
the
elementary.
3 elementary
Yeah,
schools is
the
13.5.
HVACs and the science wings of our high schools that need to be replaced too. They have the same issue.
Oh, they
Yeah.
do, all right. Would that 2.2
which is
do
about
those?
6,000-ish.
Yeah,
each.
okay. Well, because if we're gonna, in theory, if they're gonna fund the 3 elementary schools, that 2.2 would not need to go towards those. We could put it into the other HVAC that, because we're gonna have to do it at some point.
Yeah, but remember that these are estimated costs, so, and, like with the fuel prices going up now, those estimated costs could go up pretty quickly.
Then it would make sense to do as much as we could now, yeah.
But we're talking about what to do with 3.5.
3.255, 3.255. Which is the difference between the estimated A&E costs for our renovation projects and the 5.455 million.
Okay. And like I said, I agree, and I'm sure a lot of people agree, part of that big cost of all the HVAC systems. But I'm just kind of wondering, since it's your department, Mr. Farmer, and if I'm on the Board of Supervisors, just as a backup, is there any other thing that you see as a pretty desperate need that the Board of Supervisors would be like, I kind of like, that makes, that also makes sense, that needs to be done?
Other than HVAC?
Yes, other than HVAC. No?
That would be the major item that needs focus.
Well, I wish I could fix the HVAC system. I'd just take the windows out and put fans in. That'd fix it.
Portable humidifiers don't.
Huh?
Portable humidifiers in the classrooms don't fix it.
I don't know how we survived. Well, if y'all, if that's your recommendation, towards the HVAC.
Well, I'm happy to hear other. If not, we can move on.
Generators, would it pay for those? Because that seems to me, and to me, that's a big safety issue, that so many things go down, and so many of our schools don't have them. So if there's a way to slide that into the urgent stuff, yeah, I would certainly be for that.
Mr. Hensley, what were,
Oh my gosh.
I know you gave me that number.
I thought it was 2 million.
Do we have any data on how often our
That's-
schools lose power?
That's what I was wondering. How often do we lose
I
power?
mean, to me, our schools have been here a long time without generators.
Understood.
I mean, I understand the need for maybe triplet tech freezer or refrigerator where they're storing, tons of food and they have losses, but do we have any data on how often our schools lose power?
I don't know.
I mean, I haven't heard of it at our end that often.
No, not that often, but,
I mean, usually most buildings, emergency generators, fire, life safety, emergency lighting, that's about it.
And some office stuff, like
Yeah,
most
but-
of your systems.
but the phones, everything go down, so. And I mean, I don't know, in a building full of kids, I would want the fire safety stuff fired up, and that doesn't happen.
Fire, life safety by code has to have a battery backup, and it does. It'll last 90 minutes. Actually, it has to last 24 hours, I'm sorry.
Okay.
24 hours of not constantly going off, 90 minutes if it's constantly going off. But I mean, I think our need in other areas is much greater than generators. I mean, sure, triplet needs one for culinary. I'm not gonna argue over that. That needs it, but I haven't heard about our end. Do you all lose power very often down at the southern end?
I don't think so.
I haven't heard of. And I'm just wondering the cost of, I'm just kind of throwing numbers out there, the cost of it. Do you have any idea in other words, the cost of a generator to back up triplet tech, but like you said, if you're only talking about the freezers, you're better off just purchasing what got ruined if it only happens once every 5 years. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's a good point.
In the 5 months
I mean, if
that
it's
I've
go-
been- In the 5 months that I've been here, I've never heard of an outage so long that they had to throw out. Now, I know previously in the past I have heard of it, but in the 5 months that I've been here, I've not had any power loss. There was one intermittent time. It was out for a very short period of time because of electric fuse out of the lines close to the interstate. That's been a known issue that happens occasionally, but that's not a problem of our school. That's not, it's the power company's issue there, but.
But you know what I'm getting at.
Absolutely.
It was gonna cost a bunch of money to have
Agreed. If you're
a
gonna purchase, if you had to pick one school to purchase a generator for, it'd be Triple Tech. But if you're gonna do a cost replacement or a new install for every single school that doesn't have it now, that's significant.
So, if you say, well, a power unit, power unit, you got a big Caterpillar motor out there, blah, 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 well, that whole thing's gonna cost, I don't know. It's hard to tell, $300,000. And then if, whenever, if food gets spoiled, how much did it cost to replace it? Oh, that was, $2,000. I don't know, I'm just using.
That's a good point.
So the last time that Triplet lost, they lost $7,000 in inventory. So-
7,000?
And that was over winter break, and I don't remember why the electricity was out. Yeah, but it was 7,000.
Did our insurance cover any of that?
They did not give me a list to submit. I have been waiting to follow up with Chef Cross.
Anyway, it's just something to think about.
Definitely a good thought.
But their communications in the office go down, so that's, and if they're dismissing, particularly at Sandy Hook and stuff, that's difficulty. Their cameras go down, so it's, I just look at it from that aspect, that, the school's blind. And whether it's for 20 minutes or whatever happens so often, if it does happen for a long time and there's something, catastrophic going on, we may regret not doing it. That's all, so.
I mean, all of our staff have cell phones, and I can tell you my wife is not afraid to use her personal cell phone to field phone calls or whatever's needed in that case.
So April 9th, we'll have an opportunity to discuss this a little further, but the recommendation is, I think what I heard is fund A&E for the renovations, and then maybe 3.2 for HVAC. And then to maybe work with the county on identifying if that property in Tom's Brook, Marytown can be used for an elementary school and what that would look like.
No argument from me. So all that's gonna, you know, this will change once we know what they're gonna decide to give us anyway, so, to be continued?
Yes? Yes. We have to request it before they'll give it to us, so.
Right.
All right, I think the next thing, Chairman Vance, health insurance.
Yeah, baby.
All right. I used a different background on this presentation, so. So after last school board meeting, we did a survey. We started it on Friday and then ended it on, it was actually went through Thursday. And we had over 200 responses on Friday. We sent it out around noon, and by the end of the day, there were over 200 responses. So, so the people who answered, so 87% of the 387 responses said, yes, they participated in the health insurance. So they went on to question number 2. The 13% that said they did not went on to the comment section. So they didn't answer any of these questions because we really wanted to know what the people who had the health insurance actually thought. And just before we get to that question, question number 7 was not a great question. So we're going to ignore whatever information it said because I don't think it gave us a lot of really good information. But we'll get there here in a minute. Well, we were very quick in getting this survey out, you know, Thursday night to Friday afternoon. So I think, you know, having 6 really good questions was good out of 7. But thinking about health insurance for next year, please mark their preference. So 73% of the 333 responses said they want to remain with Blue Cross Blue Shield, even if there is an increased employee contribution. And then of the 331 responses, is it important for the top tier to remain with a $255 deductible? And 68% of those 331 responses said yes, it's important to remain with a deductible at $250 instead of moving it to a $500. And then is it important that your current provider participate in the network? And the answer was yes, it is important. 91% said yes. 9% of the 337 responses said no. And then would an increase of $25 a month in health insurance premiums cause you to seek employment elsewhere? The answer was no. 90% said no. And then how about if we moved away from Blue Cross Blue Shield, would you seek employment elsewhere? Even though it's a little higher, the majority said no. And then here's the junk question. So, so I really can't, we didn't specify per month, per year, or anything, so we are going to just avoid this question in its entirety. So, so what the survey actually said is our employees want to stay with Blue Cross Blue Shield. What I would like to recommend is that we actually work with the lowest provider or the lowest, the person who bid the lowest, and actually have them identify what it would look like if our employees moved over to this other health insurance, but take the year to do that analysis. Because, for example, I'm going to, there we go. For example, what we heard from our healthcare consultant is that Anthem has lower negotiated prices. So I'm going to use really generic numbers that are easy to calculate. So I go to Valley Health and get an x-ray, and my copay is 20%. If Anthem has negotiated $1,000 rate for an x-ray at Valley Health, then I'm paying 20% of $1,000 is $200. If healthcare company B has negotiated a $2,000 price for that same x-ray, then I'm paying $400. And I am certain that that is why our employees said they paid more with Aetna. Now remember, Aetna is not the lowest, the lowest bidder on this. It's another company. But I want to make sure that whatever we're, if we decide to go with the lowest bidder, then we know exactly what that's going to look like for our employees, so that whenever we go to our employees and say, now we're going to go with this other organization, and here's what you can expect from that. The lowest cost bidder also is negotiating with at least two of the three major organizations that we work with now in the next year. So the reason we went with Aetna previously is because Anthem and Valley Health were having negotiations and they hadn't negotiated a deal. Well, the company that was the lowest bidder this year is negotiating with Valley Health. They're negotiating, and I get this name wrong, Centara. So they're negotiating with them, and also the UVA healthcare, they're negotiating with them, not as quickly as they're negotiating with the other two, but those negotiations are all in the works currently within the next year. So, but my recommendation would be that we actually stick with Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield for this year, but then go in, because it was a pretty significant savings, as the school board pointed out. But we want to go into it with a clear understanding of what that means for our employees. Be happy to discuss my recommendation or healthcare in general.
Give me the number of employees who subscribe to our health insurance plans.
750. So about 75% of our employees.
Well, I'm not questioning the size of the sample, 387 responses. I just thought it would be greater.
That's a good number, and it was very quick too. The majority of them answered Friday, on Friday. And then we got a few additional responses throughout the week, but it was a good number.
I'm kind of alarmed that you barely got 50% of the participants responding to the survey.
Yeah, because insurance is such a big,
So 50% is actually a good response on surveys. It really is. It's usually it's
maybe we
unusual
all put
to
out there
have
whether
50%.
should, do you want a pay raise or not? Because maybe only 40% is going to respond, and then, well, doesn't sound like they want one. We don't have to do it.
I bet you get a higher response rate there.
I wonder.
I was really impressed, because surveys usually tend to be 10 to 20%. So, 50% is
talking
pretty
about their
good.
benefits.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's just remarkable, that low number. For something that important.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's not.
Yeah.
Well,
I hope our students respond more, but anyway.
but
I thought-
we often hear, am I right? We often hear, well, you didn't ask me,
Exactly.
and we ask.
No, yeah. It's a real good idea. I was under the impression that there was one other company that we were going to just look at real quickly and compare and make a decision, but it sounds like, is that the one company
So it
that
is-
is still in negotiation?
It is, yes. It's
So
the,
if
it's the
we're-
lowest cost, yeah.
So if they're still in negotiations, it's kind of a moot point then.
So they're what they've offered Shenandoah County Public Schools is a lot less than what Anthem is charging us. And these are round numbers, but we pay Anthem $11 million every year. And we use $10.5 million of that in healthcare claims. So Anthem is really only getting $500,000. So how can another company who have higher negotiated rates actually make any money from Shenandoah County Public Schools?
But you're saying they offered a lot less, they were,
No, they charged less. I
They,
think you
they're gonna
misspoke
charge
there.
us
Yeah.
less, yes.
But, and if they're negotiating with Anthem and UVA and these people,
Valley Health, yeah.
and Valley Health,
Centura.
then by the time that comes through next year,
Mm-hmm.
it may be a sweeter deal. I mean, so, and, you know, and we use that, you know, we switched from Anthem to this health insurance company when my wife switched jobs. And my son goes to UVA, and they, you know, that's actually moving a little faster than I thought. So I agree, it probably is not the best, you know, we can't switch this year, but I think a hard look at this next year. You know, maybe we can get the other 50% of the people to answer the survey by this time next year and know what everyone thinks.
Is there a reason we waited till so long in the process to reach out to this other company?
Yeah, that's a great question. We negotiate our contracts, and I don't think I'm going to answer your question, but let me see if I can get to it. We wait so late in the year to actually renegotiate our contract with anybody. So even with Anthem, previously it was March before we had a number from Anthem, Blue Cross Blue Shield, on what their premiums. So we're pushing that back to January to give us a couple of more months so that we're able to negotiate for a little while longer. And it's just so I think to answer your question, it's the short period of time that we have between when the bids are due and our budget was due to the school board and then to the Board of Supervisors is the reason why it took us a little longer. We knew very clearly that our employees wanted to stick with Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield. That's been stated to us over and over and over again. So,
When did Anthem tell us about the hike? Like the raise? Do you know roughly when they told us, you know, we're gonna up
It was like December, yeah, January.
January? Okay.
and when did we go out for proposal, for bid?
February.
February
16th. Something like that.
Okay.
so you're saying it's not even an option to go with this other company for this?
It is. It is, we
Okay,
can.
then you all lost me. I'm sorry, I apologize. I missed something because you're saying it's significant less. And even after they do the negotiations, you said it could be even a better deal. So
Well,
No, it's
no.
not gonna be a better deal after that.
that's why I got confused on here.
they
No.
would get better rates possibly than what Melody just explained with, you know, paying, you know, if you pay an x-ray of
$1,000.
of 1,000
yeah.
versus 2,000, that price. So that number would change, not
I just wanna
not
make
the
it-
immediate of what we're paying the company.
Yeah, I just want to make it clear, so the public that's watching this, that they understood when you said it's considerably a lot less money, but we're not going with it. I just want to make sure that it's explained.
So it doesn't necessarily mean it's less for our employees.
All right.
And we switched to Aetna in 2000, 2001, something like that. And our employees' experience was not great.
Not good.
Yeah. And we do know that one of the healthcare organizations that this company doesn't participate with is John Hopkins, and we have several employees that are going to John Hopkins. That's just one. It's about 10%, I believe,
Okay.
of current providers. And John Hopkins is just one of them.
Are we ready to move on?
Sounds like it.
It does sound like it. Ms. Proctor, high school English language arts materials adoption.
Yes, just want to give you all an opportunity to see if you have any the new House bill to purchase HQIMs K through 12. The areas where we were lacking in that is high school English and also high school history. However, the state has not put out adoption materials, approved adoption materials for us to pick from, so we went ahead and moved forward with English.
Yep. And HQIM is high-quality instructional materials.
Thank you.
And this goes back to the PowerPoint that was presented.
Yes.
Well, he did a thorough job
Yes.
with
Mr. Sherry.
his recommendation.
Yes.
It had a good foundation, I thought.
Yes.
If I
This was
remember
Mr.
correctly,
Shearer, yes.
I'm sorry. If I remember correctly, that did include textbooks instead of
Yes.
Chromebooks, correct?
Yes. There is a digital option, however, when our teachers piloted, they used the print material, they profoundly like the print materials.
Sounds like it again, doesn't it, Mr. Street?
Sounds like it.
Okay.
I actually do have one
Oh,
question.
I'm out.
I'm out, sorry.
Don't go too fast.
So with the adoption of this new material, do we have any data showing how well this material aligns with the assessments and SOLs that are given?
So both of those textbook companies give us an alignment document that takes, because they're not written specifically for Virginia. And so they give us documents that tell us what the alignment is to the Virginia standards. There are no textbooks that really align just to Virginia. There are several for different content areas. For example, history, there is one textbook. For math, the one that we just adopted at the elementary level, Kidum does, but majority are more national, and so they pull those in and make us alignment documents, and so we use that to, when we lesson plan, to make sure that we're not using the stuff that isn't aligned and using the stuff that is aligned.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
You can proceed now. I may proceed, Chair.
I'm given the green light.
Okay.
Southwest Food Excellence Food Service Contract Renewal. Ms. Campbell?
I also don't have a presentation. I really just want to open up the floor to answer any questions about the proposed contract from SFE, or to discuss the bidding process next year, as this is the last renewal that we can do on the original RFP with SFE.
I have a question in regards to that also. So how often, the portions that our students are given, specifically in elementary school, like how often are those portions audited? And I'm asking because when I spoke with a group of fifth graders at a peer leadership team, and just hypothetically, I gave them, I'm like, okay, I'm like, so here's $1 million. What would you do to change with our schools? And surprisingly, there was no more, we'd buy more playground equipment, or, you know, we'd buy roller skates or scooters for PE. The majority of them said we would like to see bigger portions for our lunches. And I just thought that was pretty amazing coming from fifth graders when they could have been focused on something else, but they were more concerned about the portions of food that they were receiving at lunch, as well as the way the food is presented. It doesn't seem to align with the pictures that this company puts on their website.
So the portions I will speak to, and I will have to do some more research on the presentation
Sure.
itself. But the portion sizes are set by the USDA and the federal government at large, so we actually can't exceed or change those portion sizes unless we want to move away from the federal food service program, which I would not recommend.
Right.
Students are always able to go back and get additional servings, pay a la carte, but that's where it becomes no longer free, is they have to pay extra to get extra. But all of that is mandated at the federal level, and we have very strict guidelines that we have to adhere to for that.
But how often are we auditing that, just to make sure that, you know, like if they're supposed to get a cup or a quarter cup or whatever it is of vegetables, how often do we make sure that that's really what they're getting?
I don't want to misspeak, so
Yep.
I will
Thank you.
ask and find out.
We had a Virginia Department of Education audit just recently, 2 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago.
It was, yes.
And that's one of the things that they audit. So that they only went to 2 schools. One was Sandy Hook Elementary School and the other was Peter Muhlenberg, and they passed with flying colors. So,
Those large audits from VOE come around once every 5 years, and they choose a subset of our schools. But I can tell you that the SFE folks who were here as we worked through the audits and even before the audits looked at all of our schools when they came through. But how often they do that audit, I will find out.
And just in regard to the presentation of the food, if you, I know, just Robinson, for example, if you were to go in there and to take a picture of a lunch tray and then, you know, kind of compared it to what's on their website, it's not the same.
Any other questions?
You've got that this is the last year we get to renew with them. Do we know what their prices are gonna look like for next year?
So we will go out for full RFP probably this fall and get bids back. That would include negotiations for the school board, and I'm actually going to have a managers meeting in a couple weeks to get feedback from our managers on what they've liked about SFE, what they don't like about SFE, so that we can work that into the RFP so that we're answering the needs we're looking for from those people who are boots on the ground.
I'm ready to move to action items if there's nothing else on the food on the menu. Only one item under action items, and it is personnel. And I need a motion to approve the personnel list as presented.
I move to approve the personnel list as presented, Mr.
And a
Chair.
second.
Second.
And a second. All in favor will indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. 5-0, Madam Clerk. Report of board members, other business. Ms. Pinch, you get to lead off.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
I just want to say, you know, as we continue to our work regarding the budget in our facilities, I think it's important that we stay focused on what matters most, and that is making smart and practical decisions that improve our schools while we stay grounded in what our community can actually afford. And that is what I base my decisions and my votes on, so I just want the public to be aware of that. But on another note, with spring break just around the corner, I know this could possibly be one of the longest weeks of the year for our teachers and our staff. So, because it's actually kind of long for me too, because we're leaving as well. So I just want to thank them for the teachers, staff, everybody for just getting our kids across this hurdle to that last day of school before spring break. That's it.
Okay, Mr. Rickard.
Oh, boy. It was brought to my attention that we've got some teachers and some staff that weren't recognized. I guess it was our last school board meeting. We had some 20, 25 plus, 30. That some of them were over 30 and they were like, hey, I wasn't recognized. There was some that were over 25. I like the fact that we did that. I just wish we were more careful that we covered all our bases and got all the employees that were involved that should have been recognized. Other than that, I've got nothing. I mean, I hope the teachers and the administrators and all of our staff find some time to relax over the next spring break. Strange for me, this will be my last one with my son. But I thank you all for the jobs you do. I thank all our staff in the buildings, our boots on the ground, as I like to call them. Like I said, I hope they all enjoy their spring break. That's all I've got.
Mr. Shabby?
Well, first, and, you know, maybe, well, first, happy birthday, Mr. Street. So we get that on the official record. So today's
thank you.
Tom's record, or Tom's birthday. So now, Mr. Vance, you have to sing since I did that. So remember that. As always, I appreciate everyone here, board members and, our teachers and staff. This is like kind of hell week with everyone waiting to get out for, for spring break. And hopefully, this isn't wood, but this is, we don't have any issues this week. And with the CIP stuff, I want to do what's best for the county and most importantly, our students. And we have a lot of different people with a lot of different opinions and what the priorities should be. I've said it many times, these are all needs, they're not wants, and the conditions of the 4 buildings, elementary and triplet, that are, in dire needs of infrastructure and mechanical needs, those are always going to be my priority. And I think moving forward strategically and, and slowly but definitively with the other construction projects, is important, and it's all going to take time. So be patient. It's been pretty clear that it's taken a long time to get into this mess, and we've had a lot of studies done before all of us were on the board. So, but I think we're moving ahead, as quickly as we can. So, that's it for me, so.
District 2, Mr. Street.
Well, thank you, Mike. Just 2 things. I want to continue to thank everybody for doing a good job, what everybody does, and I'm really big about being passionate, having passion in what you do. And then the other thing is, I'll probably say it again at the April 9th meeting, but I know the outcome for Central wasn't what we wanted to see at the state championship game, but just remember, they were there to play. They weren't there to watch. So that's impressive. That's all.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Are you saying you don't have any comments?
Yeah.
Well, that laryngitis comes and goes. Was that a second, by the way?
Sure.
We have a second. All in favor of adjourning until April the 9th?
Aye.
Say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. We stand adjourned.
I didn't know that was an option. Skipping out on comments.
Maybe a little earlier.